I'd like to welcome all of you. Thank you for coming. This is the Brown Cemetery, which was dedicated by Joseph Renthrope Brown in the hopes that it would be the final resting place of many of the pioneers here from Henderson, and it has served splendidly. I'd like to take a moment and read you a little bit, a digest from the obituary that was published of myself, and it talks about my death, my family, and my history. This is the obituary of Captain Adam Buck, Jr. It was published in the Sibley County Enterprise on Thursday, 14 March, 1895. The headline stated, "Captain Adam Buck dies." I read, quote, "After declining health for some years and complete prostration for several weeks, Captain Adam Buck passed peacefully away to his final rest at 8 o'clock Thursday evening at his home in Henderson at the age of 64. A complication of kidney and bladder troubles of an aggressive type was the direct cause of death. The best medical assistance that could be procured was employed in an effort to arrest the fatal progress of the disease, but to no avail. Death fixed its seal upon its victim and would not be thwarted by earthly skills. The remarkably vigorous physique of the captain enabled him to baffle the summons for some time, but nature finally became exhausted and surrendered the life held so nearly akin to sacredness in the hearts of the surviving sons, daughters, old comrades who fought under his command during the late Civil War, and the innumerable host of friends he gathered during his busy career of his manhood. He leaves behind him two sons, A.C. of Arlington and G.A. of Henderson, and two daughters, Mrs. Leopold Herman and Miss Laura, both living here in Henderson. His wife preceded him to the grave a little more than 4 years ago. The deceased was a highly honored member of the Grand Army of the Republic. Also, Brother Adam Buck was initiated, passed, and raised a Master Mason in the later part of the 1860s at Henderson Lodge, number 80. He was a fine Minnesota Master Mason of 25 years standing. It was under the auspices of the latter order that his body was laid away last Sunday afternoon at Henderson. The funeral was largely attended by members of the two orders above named and by comrades and friends from throughout this and neighboring communities. The death of Captain Buck transfers from earth to a higher sphere of life one of the grandest of that grand army of mortals, so aptly designated by the distinguished title of Nature's Nobleman. And he was one of the truest representatives of that order in all that its title implies. He was a kind of indulgent husband and father and a loyal friend, an upright, honorable, energetic citizen. His heart was as tender as a child's, and he was gracious to a fault. He would give to a total stranger in distress the last cent in his pocket, no matter whether he happened to be no matter where he happened to be, always taking no thought of his own welfare. And the one great admirable trait in his character was a total lack of hypocrisy. Hypocrisy is the bane of many other wise, good men, but there was never a symptom of that element in the nature of Captain Buck. Every person knew him as he was. They knew his mind and his inclinations upon all matters of which he spoke. They knew his firm political tendencies and honored him for them. During his long and successful political career, no one could have honestly accused him of carrying water on both sides of the shoulder or standing astride the fence. He always stood on one foundation, and everyone knew what that was. If he had an enemy in the world, he was not aware of it, and so he passed away, loved and mourned by all. Adam Buck Jr. was born 12 October 1830 in Germany. After leaving common school, he attended college for 2 years and graduated. He followed painting for 5 years and then served 3 years in the German Army. In 1854, he came to Minnesota, married Eliza Kohler, who bore 8 children. After painting 1 year in St. Paul, they preempted 160 acres of land in this county and followed farming for 5 years. Adam Buck Jr. was elected to the state legislature in 1861, and in 1862 assisted in organizing a company to put down the Indian outbreak. He afterward resigned his position as first lieutenant and settling into Henderson to open a drugstore. In August 1864, he raised Company A of the 11th Minnesota and served through the remainder of the war as their captain. The company participated in some hard service in Tennessee and other states of the South. Henry Wee of Arlington, John Gleason of Glayford, Gottlieb Stube of Henderson, A. Kuski and H. Otting of Kelson, and probably others are still living in the county who were members of that gallant company led by their fearless Captain Buck. Henry Spellman, who died at Gaylord some years ago, also was a member of that company. At the close of the war, Captain Buck returned to Henderson and opened a hotel, which he conducted for 2 years. In 1865, he was elected to the Senate. In 1868, he was elected a member of the House and was re-elected in 1870. During his time, he was a civil engineer, county surveyor, and the latter position he held continuously until 1886. End quote. I blush at having to read these 2 kind words published in the Sibley paper. Let me take a quick moment and speak of another. In 1870, Brother Joseph Renshaw Brown himself was interned here by his Masonic brothers. Friends, family were there. His grave, which was part of the family, and his family resting there with him, can be visited at the far east section of the cemetery. It's quite a long walk, so we won't make you do that today. But maybe you could drive by on your way out to see the monument for him. He arrived in Minnesota in 1820 as a 15-year-old soldier and served until 1828. He was appointed in 1857 to the rank of Major General in the Minnesota Militia. He served with the military again during the Dakota War and was wounded at Birch Coulee. The tall obelisk was raised in his memory down at the end of the road here in 1910. Now, at the conclusion of this gathering, like I said, please visit it. The words of tribute on his memorial honor him as a pioneer, a statesman, and a soldier. An unveiling of a bronze bust to be mounted on Kasota stone is planned for this evening. For more information, it's available in the County Historical Museum.